Hey, what's going on? I'm Matt O'Leary, back with another video, and I'm excited for this one. I am doing my predictions for the standings of each division this year. We're going to start in the AFC, get over to the NFC. We're going to do playoffs, Super Bowl picks, awards, everything and so much more. Oh, it's going to be an absolute blast. I cannot wait. But before we get started, I just wanted to mention that you can follow me on social media at Matt O'Leary NY on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that fun stuff. Also, if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever it is that you get your podcast. New episodes are dropping Wednesdays now. That way we can talk about the games and preview the next week because we got football back. It's going to be sick. I am so pumped up. So thank you for supporting. Please make sure to subscribe. If you haven't checked out the Patreon, patreon.com/Matt O'Leary NY, you might want to check that out. We're getting exclusive content over there. You get Q&As, live streams for pregame shows. You get articles, a whole bunch of stuff over there. Definitely worthwhile to check out. And lastly, manscaped.com. You can use promo code JETS20 for 20% off and free shipping on the Lawnmower 3.0 or any other of their products, but I use the Lawnmower 3.0. Skin safe technology makes shaving a breeze. I absolutely love it. I use it every time that I have to shave, and it's great. I love it. I would not use another product, and definitely worthwhile to check out. 20% off, Jets20. Let's jump right into it. Oh, can you tell I'm pumped up? Football is back, and I'm so excited. So we'll start in the AFC East because that has a little rooting interest for us, and then work our way through the AFC into the NFC and so on and so forth. So who do I think is going to win the AFC East? I have the New England Patriots at 10-6. Now, also, I should mention, this is how I got the results. I'm a psychopath. I actually went through all 17 weeks and picked every single game. So it's not like, I think maybe they can go 9-7. No. I went through the Patriots' entire schedule, picked it, and went through the Bills. All 32 teams picked their entire season, and this was the results that I got. So I have the Patriots at 10-6. I think they are the team to beat still, even without Tom Brady. I understand that they're in a transitional phase with Cam Newton. We don't know what kind of player he's going to be this year. And I know they had a million guys opt out, but it's still the Patriots. Until they prove that they are not the team that's going to dominate the AFC East, I have to pick them. So I'm going with the AFC East champion as the New England Patriots. Next up is Buffalo, who I have at 8-8. That's a little bit of a hot take for some people. A lot of them I feel like have them winning the division or have them winning 9 or 10 games. I really like this roster. I really do not like the quarterback. I don't think that Josh Allen takes that next step forward. I think teams begin to figure him out. I think his growth stagnates. I also think that a few games after Stephon Diggs is not getting the football or the ball's being thrown a million miles over his head, he's going to start to get frustrated and the offense isn't going to click. The defense is really, really good. They're going to win some tough games against some really good teams. I just think that they're about an 8. You can maybe tell me that they win 9 or 10 games. Like, I don't think it's crazy to say that they win 10 games, but I just don't know if their offense is going to be able to do enough in order to win 10 games or be a playoff team. I have them at 8-8 right now, and that's not a playoff spot in the AFC. Then I have the Jets at 7-9, which I think is probably pretty realistic for the New York Jets this year. Could they be 8-8 or better? Maybe. I don't think they're going to be much worse than, I don't have them at like 5 or 4 wins. I think that's too low. 7 sounds about right to me. I think the offense will be a little bit better. They were 31st last year. I think they're probably going to be somewhere in the low 20s offensively. And defense will drop a little bit. They were 10th last year. I think they'll be around 15th in the league, which is probably a recipe for 7-9 with a really difficult schedule. So that's where I have our Jets. And then I have Miami at 5-11 to round out the AFC East. I don't think they're quite there yet. They're definitely in a rebuilding phase. I like the coach. I just think that, it's a tough schedule, and I put them a little bit behind where the Jets and the Bills are in their development. I think they're close. I think next year, if you want to say, after another draft and Tua Tagovailoa coming in here to play a full season, then okay, you can convince me that they're going to be, competitive in the AFC East, but I still think they're a year away from that. Let's go to the AFC North, where I have the Pittsburgh Steelers winning the division at 12-4. And I know that's a really hot take for a lot of people because a lot of people are predicting Baltimore is going to go 14-2. Not me. I think the Steelers are the best team in the division when Ben Roethlisberger is healthy. That defense, in my eyes, is the best defense in football. I think the offense is going to be clicking on all cylinders. I think they're going to be one of the more competitive teams in the AFC. I really, really like them a lot. And I have Baltimore at 11-5. I still think they are a really, really good team. No doubt about it. I just think that Lamar Jackson's going to struggle to put up the same season he did last year. I'm not saying Lamar Jackson's going to regress and be terrible. No, I just think that he's not going to have that same impact and MVP-like impact that he did last year. And I think teams are going to transition and start to figure out what their offense does. I don't think they're going to be putting up 40 points a game every single week. I think they're going to be really good. 11-5 is a very, very good year. I just don't think they're going to be 13-3, 14-2, like a lot of people are predicting them to. And again, 11-5 is a good year. I have them making the playoffs as a wild card spot. Then I have the Cleveland Browns at 6-10. Yes, they have a good roster on paper. I bought into all the hype last year, and I got burned by it. I had them at like 10-6 last year. Until they prove otherwise, I'm going to have them at 6-10. Yes, this roster on paper is good. I like the offense a lot, but I don't know anything about this coach. I don't know how he's going to transition in the league. And there's still some question marks around Baker. I like Baker. I think I would continue his development, but I can't bet on the Browns anymore. I can't predict on them to figure it out until they do. So I have them at 6-10. And then to round out the division, I have the Bengals at 4-12. Joe Burrow, I'm excited to watch this year. This team is still very much in a transition. They're rebuilding. I don't think they're going to be any good this year, so I have them at 4-12. As for the AFC South, this was a tough one for me. I have the Titans winning the division at 10-6. And I think they're going to rely very, very heavily on their run game. Go figure. I mean, obviously, Derrick Henry is going to be the workhorse. I'm not a believer in Ryan Tannehill, but I think he's going to do enough to get them to the playoffs at a 10-6 record and win the division. I have the Colts right there at 9-7. I'm a big Phillip Rivers guy. I think he bounces back. I think they have a really competitive roster. And I think if Luck was there last year, I definitely think that's a team that wins 10 plus games. I think Rivers is a little bit better with behind that really good offensive line. Maybe he has a little bit left in the tank for another playoff run. I have the Texans finishing third and not making the playoffs. The Colts are a wild card team, by the way. The Texans don't make the playoffs. I have them at 9-7. I love Deshaun Watson. Don't get me wrong. I love Deshaun. I think he's a top 5 quarterback in this league without question. I just hate the head coach, and I hate the decision to move on from DeAndre Hopkins. This roster has some flaws, but yes, Deshaun Watson makes up for a lot of them. I just don't know if he's going to be able to catapult them and have them win the division. Now, I don't think it's going to take more than 10 wins to win this division. Maybe 9-7 even gets it done. So I wouldn't be shocked if the Texans did it. I just had them at 9-7, and they had a couple of tiebreakers fall not their way, and the Colts ended up making the playoffs over them. So, unfortunately for Deshaun Watson, he's going 9-7 after getting that big contract. And then I have Jacksonville, who I think is going to be picking extremely high in this draft class. I'm not a Gardner Minshew believer. I think they are trying to get Trevor Lawrence in this year's draft, and I think they go 3-13. I don't think this is a very good team. They are giving away all their talent. Jalen Ramsey's gone, AJ Boye's gone. They traded Yannick Ngakoue, Calais Campbell's gone. On the offensive side of the ball, they got rid of Leonard Fournette. Like, this is a barren roster, and I think they're going to be bad this year. So 3-13, unfortunately, for Jacksonville. In the AFC West, I have the Kansas City Chiefs going 14-2, winning the division and getting the first round bye. Playoffs a little bit different this year. 7 teams make the playoffs, only one team gets a bye, so the Chiefs are that team. And I mean, we could talk all day long about how good Andy Reid is and how good Pat Mahomes is. So I think they're going to click on all cylinders. I think the fact that it is a shortened training camp scenario and there's not a whole lot of preseason, I think helps them because this roster has been together now for a long time. They have a ton of starters returning. I think they're going to be really good, and I think their offense clicks right away. The next team I have is the Denver Broncos at 10-6, and yes, I have Denver making the playoffs. I really like this roster a lot, and I'm a believer in Drew Lock. I think this is a team that is going to be competitive and surprise some people. I know they lost Von Miller, but they're getting Bradley Chubb back, who had double-digit sacks in his first year. This is a really good team. I like this roster a lot. I think they're going to surprise some people and make some noise and make the playoffs. I really like Drew Lock. Again, I like Drew Lock. I like the decision to draft wide receiver heavy for this team. I thought they had a really good draft. I'm excited about Denver. I think they're going to be a really good team this year, so I have them at 10-6 and as a wild card spot. I have Vegas. I almost said I don't even know, Oakland, where they used to play. I have Vegas at 6-10, finishing third. I'm not really a believer in this whole experiment with John Gruden reuniting there. I think it's going to be some bumps in the road. I like Mike Mayock. I think he's made a lot of good decisions. I just don't know if I trust Gruden. I don't know if Carr is the long-term answer there. And I think maybe in a year they can get this thing going in the right direction. But I really like Denver and Kansas City a lot better. So I'm giving them third. And then in fourth, I have the Chargers, who are starting Tyrod Taylor, who, hand up, I like Tyrod. I think he is a good game manager. But I think eventually they're going to switch on over to Herbert, who I think will struggle a little bit in his rookie year. So I have them at 5-11 at the bottom of the division. Ultimately here, I think they're a little bit away. Yes, there is some talent on that defense. I think the defense is good. And you have Keenan Allen on the outside. Like, there are some pieces to this offense I like a lot. I just think they're going to get some struggles at the quarterback position, and that holds them back. So I have them at 5-11 this year. All right, to the NFC we go now. We will start with the NFC East, which I have the Cowboys winning at 12-4. I think this Cowboys team is really, really good on paper. I am not a Mike McCarthy guy, but I think that roster is too good to mess up. I really like their draft. I thought they did a lot of things right. That offense is going to be explosive, man, with CeeDee Lamb as one of your wide receivers, in addition to what you had already with Gallup and Amari Cooper on the other side. I think it's going to be a really, really good team. I like them a lot. I think defensively, I think they have enough. I think they're going to be good. So I have them at 12-4 winning the division. In second place, I have the Eagles at 8-8. I think this team could compete for a playoff spot, but I think Carson Wentz, injury history is definitely a concern. I don't love the wide receiver group still. I think that needs some more work. I don't love the running back room. I think that could probably use some more work. Defensively, they're pretty good. They need some corner help, though, I would say. And we'll see where they go. But I think 8-8 is probably pretty fair, especially when you're playing Dallas twice. It's not an easy task. And I think around 500 sounds about right for the Eagles this year. Then I have the Giants at 4-12. I don't think the Giants are good yet. I really will say I've been surprised by Daniel Jones. I thought he played well as a rookie. I think he's going to struggle early in the year. He had turnover issues, and they're playing Pittsburgh in week 1. I don't love that for him. I think that's going to be tough. This Giants team, I think, is in a transitional period. I don't think that's unfair to say. Yes, obviously I'm a Jets fan, and I run the a Jets YouTube page and stuff like that. So maybe people say I'm biased, but I trust Joe Judge. I think he could be the right guy. I don't like Dave Gettleman. But I think they have a quarterback, and I think they have some pieces on the offensive side of the ball. This defense just needs a lot of work. It needs time. Give it another year or two, and the Giants will be back and ready to be competitive, but not yet. I think they're 4-12 this year. And then I have the Washington football team rounding out the division at 3-13. I don't think it's going to go well in Washington. Yes, I am happy with some of the moves that they are making in terms of rebranding what they are doing over there in Washington. The culture, I think, will change, but I don't think this is a team that's ready to compete yet. I really don't. I'm not a Haskins believer. I just think that they're a little bit away. So maybe they're drafting a quarterback in the top of this draft as well, but I don't like what Washington's doing this year just yet. Give them a little bit more time as well. To the NFC North we go. The 12-4 Packers are going to win the division. I like what Green Bay did. I think this team is going to be very tough to get out. I really like what they did last year. In their first year with their new head coach. I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to come back and have another really good year. Devontae Adams, I think, might lead the league in receiving yards this year and possibly touchdowns as well. I really like Adams. I think he's going to put up monster numbers, and I like Lazar on the other side too. I think this team is going to be sneaky. I know some people think, maybe they're like a 10-win team. I think they're pretty good. I really like them. And their pass rush duo I can't get enough of. The Smith guys, I love them both. Love this team. Really, give me 12 wins for them. I have the Vikings at 9-7, not making the playoffs. I think Kirk Cousins is going to go 7-9 to 9-7, and that's going to be where he lies. I know they had a really nice win against the Saints last year in the playoffs, but I don't think Kirk's going to do it. That's really my opinion on it. I think they have a lot of nice pieces on that roster. I really do. But I don't trust Kirk Cousins. That's the only thing that's holding them back from being a really good team is Kirk Cousins. His record against winning teams is really rough. Then in third place, I have the Bears at 4-12. I don't think the Bears are going to be very good this year. I don't think Mitch Trubisky is going to be very good this year. But I really don't like what's going on there. Sorry, Bears fans, but this team is They have two quarterbacks on the roster that I want no part of, and Mitch Trubisky and Nick Foles. Sorry. It's not going to be good in Chicago. And then I have Detroit also at 4-12. And yes, I'm a big Matt Stafford guy, and there are some pieces on this team that I like. I think Matt Patricia is awful, and I think he is going to get fired. They always seem to get banged up as well. It wouldn't shock me if they ended up winning like 7 or 8 games this year either, but because of the talent on the roster, I don't trust Patricia to put it together. I don't think his team is buying in. I think he lost the locker room. I think he's going to get fired at the end of this year. I don't even know if he makes it through the season, to be honest with you. I don't like it. Give me another year on Detroit. I'm not ready to buy in just yet. Okay, the NFC South, let's get into it. I have the New Orleans Saints winning the division at 10-6. I think this division is going to be tough. I think there's going to be a lot of teams fighting for each other at the top, but I have the Saints winning it at 10-6, taking a little bit of a step back. Yes, they're the team that I picked to win the Super Bowl the last 2 years, which is kind of crummy, but this team to me is definitely one that is still a playoff caliber team. I just don't know if they're that 13-3 team anymore. 10-6, still really good team. No doubt about it. I think they win the division still, but I don't think they're quite there yet. In second, I have the Falcons at 9-7. I thought they came on really strong at the end of last year. I really liked what they did there. I like Matt Ryan. I like that offense. I don't love the coach, but I think this roster has a bunch of talent, and I think they're going to win 9 games and be a wild card team. Then in third, I have the Bucs, the most overrated team in football. I have the Buccaneers going 8-8. Remember the 2011 Eagles? They were supposed to be the dream team. Remember last year's Browns team? They were supposed to be the everyone's preseason darling. Well, this year it's the Bucs. Yes, you got Tom Brady. Tom Brady did not look like himself last year. There are more weapons on Tampa Bay. There's no denying that, but I don't think that this team is now a shoo-in to win 12 games. I don't. They went 7-9 last year. They have a similar roster to what they did last year. Rob Gronkowski's way past his prime. Leonard Fournette, I don't know the fit there. He's, I guess, an upgrade over Jones, but I don't know. I'm not a believer in Bruce Arians in Tampa Bay. I'm not. I don't think Tom Brady's going to have the success that everyone thinks he does. I think it's going to be rocky, 8-8. Like I said, I think we find out that Bill Belichick is a little bit more of what's going on in that scenario. So sorry, Bucs fans. I know that hopes are high. I don't think they're going to be very good. I think they're going to be overrated. 8-8. And then give me the Panthers at 6-10. Matt Rule is rebuilding that team. They're moving a lot of pieces around. I think they're looking for their quarterback of the future. I don't believe it's going to be Teddy Bridgewater. But 6-10 for Matt Rule. And I mean, people think this team's going to win like 2 games. I'm not there. I think there's enough talent on this roster to win 6. So I'm going to give them 6-10 to round out the NFC South. To the NFC West now we go. I have the Seattle Seahawks winning that division at 12-4 and getting the first round bye. This team's really good. They traded for Jamal Adams. Yes, I think the Jets got a great return for Jamal Adams, but he's still a great piece to that defense. I think that defense can be really good. I love Russell Wilson. To me, he's the second best quarterback in the league behind Pat Mahomes. And I think they go 12-4. I don't think that's, crazy for people to say. This next pick is going to ruffle feathers, though. My team in the NFC, the Arizona Cardinals, I have going 10-6 and being a wild card team. I love Kyler Murray. More on Kyler later. I love Cliff Kingsbury, and I love their draft. I really like this team a lot. I think they are a team on the rise. I think it's a team that, maybe people aren't saying that they're going to be there just yet. I think a lot of people have them at like 7 wins. I like Arizona a lot. Spoiler alert, I really like Arizona. I think their offense is going to be special this year. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I know the defense still needs some work. I like the Isaiah Simmons pick. I think he's going to be really good there. More on Isaiah Simmons later too. Hint. I think this team goes 10-6. I think they make the playoffs. So really love that. And then I have the San Francisco 49ers at 9-7 and another wild card team. The 49ers are good. They obviously were in the Super Bowl last year. Usually the team that loses the Super Bowl has a hangover. I mean, it just happens every single year. We saw it with the Rams last year. We see it all the time, pretty much. So I think they take a little bit of a step back. I still think they make the playoffs. I think this is still a roster that's really, really good. I just think they take a little bit of a step back. We see it all the time. Like I said, teams who lose the Super Bowl, how often do they miss the playoffs the next year? I don't even have them missing the playoffs. Now I have them going 9-7. This is still a good roster. I just think they're going to take a little bit of a step back. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. And then in last place, I have the Rams at 7-9. I really like Sean McVay. Not a big Jared Goff guy. This division's tough. Hot take, the NFC West is the best division in football. I think anyway. A lot of people might say the NFC South is, now give me the NFC West. I love all their coaches. And I think all these teams are going to be competitive. I really do. So that's my standings. And now let's get to the playoffs. All right, so in the wild card rounds, I have the Colts going up against the Steelers, which I would have the Steelers winning. The Broncos going up against the Pats, which I have the Pats winning. Then I have the Ravens as a wild card team going up against Tennessee, with the Ravens advancing. Then I have in the NFC the 49ers and the Packers, with the Packers advancing. I have the Cowboys hosting the Falcons, with the Cowboys advancing, and then I have the Saints hosting the Cardinals, with the Saints advancing. So the divisional round, obviously I had the Chiefs on a bye. They will play the Ravens. I think they beat the Ravens. I then have the Steelers hosting the Patriots, and I think the Steelers will beat the Patriots in the divisional round finally. I think we have then in the NFC the Seahawks hosting the Saints, and I have the Seahawks winning that game. I also have the Packers hosting the Cowboys, and I think the Packers win that game. I really like the Cowboys. I think they are a Super Bowl contender, but I think Aaron Rodgers has something to prove this year. I think he has a monster year. To the conference championship we go. I have the Chiefs hosting the Steelers, to which I have the Chiefs advancing. And then I have the Seahawks hosting the Packers and having the Packers advancing. So a Super Bowl rematch from many moons ago. I have the Packers from the NFC against the Chiefs in the AFC. And I have the Chiefs repeating as Super Bowl champions for the first time, a first-time repeat since the New England Patriots did it in the early 2000s. I know this is a chalk pick for a lot of people. A lot of people are picking the Chiefs. This team is really good, and I think in a COVID-shortened year in terms of preparation and training camp, I think it's going to play favors to the Chiefs. Yes, I think the Steelers and the Ravens could give them a run for their money, but I still think this is the Chiefs' league. Let's do some awards now. For my MVP, I'm taking Kyler Murray. I was talking him up a lot. No one expected Pat Mahomes to take the leap that he did. No one expected Lamar Jackson to take the leap that he did in his second year. And no one is really expecting Kyler Murray to be an MVP type of player, I would say. But I really like Kyler, and I think he has a tremendous year. Give him the MVP. Offensive Player of the Year, Pat Mahomes, chalk answer, but I think that's going to be the one. Defensive Player of the Year, TJ Watt of the Steelers. I really like TJ. I think he has a monster year, and I think that's the number one defense in football this year. Offensive Rookie of the Year, give me Clyde Edwards-Helaire from the Chiefs. I think he is going to get a ton of reps. I think he's going to be good for them. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Isaiah Simmons, those Cardinals. I really like that Cardinals team. They're young. They're up and coming. I like them a lot. Comeback Player of the Year, give me Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, if he has his team in the AFC Championship game after what he went through last year, I think he wins Comeback Player of the Year. Coach of the Year, give me Cliff Kingsbury. I think winning 10 games, getting that team in the playoffs is something unexpected, so I think he's going to win it. Walter Payton Man of the Year, I'm going to say Travis Kelce, going out on a limb when he got a big-time contract and he did some really good things in the community. So I'm going to say Travis Kelce. And then Assistant Coach of the Year, future head coach of the New York Jets, Eric Bieniemy. I really think Eric Bieniemy is going to do some great things with that Chiefs offense. And on top of that, I think he finally lands a coaching gig after this year. And I think it's going to be with the New York Jets. But that's just my take on it. Let me know what you think of what are your standings. What did you think of mine? Playoff picture. Who wins the Super Bowl for you? Who wins these awards? Let me know in the comments down below. This was a lot of fun to make. It took a lot of work, but I was excited to do it. We got football back, and I'm pumped. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll talk to you next time.